She served as an advisor in the ASEAN Center for Energy, UNDP, Malaysia Green Technology and Climate Change, and Malaysia's Sustainable Energy Development Authority on sustainable energy and climate strategies. She helps formulate the ASEAN Energy Outlook 8, or the AEO 8, Malaysia's hydrogen roadmap, and regional action plans for haze mitigation and food waste conversion to renewable gas. She has pioneered research on biomass fuels, renewable microgrids with EV integration, and green hydrogen systems. Anchored in applied energy and Journal of Cleaner Production, she develops practical pathways for carbon neutrality, such as Ignite 2025 for ACE and Galaxy for Petra. Her initiatives, including low carbon city footprints or blueprints and education programs, highlight her commitment to advancing sustainable, low carbon future across ASEAN. So without further ado, I give you our keynote speaker, Professor Engineer Dr. Haslenda Hasim.
Okay, thank you very much, uh, to our MC today. So first of all, thank you for coming to AICEE 2025. I'm Haslinda Hashim from University Technology Malaysia. Um, okay, so for today, I would like to share with you one of our study related to low carbons and emerging technology, um, which actually we are actually converting food waste into renewable natural gas. And this project, we have conducted life cycle assessment, life cycle cost analysis, and techno-economic analysis of renewable natural gas production from food waste. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. So if you look at this statistic, it shows that in Malaysia, each person will contribute about 1 kilogram of food waste every day. So you can imagine 1 kilogram every day. So, and it's actually contribute about 17,000 per day of food waste. This is based on the SW Corp 2024. Yeah. So if you look at the um, characteristics, so food waste actually contribute around 35. Sorry. All right. Okay, sorry. Eh? So around 36% of the food waste as compared to other composition. Okay? And actually, based on the statistic, it shows that Malaysia is the fourth worst in Southeast Asia in terms of food waste management. Right? So this is basically the policies related to solid waste management. So in our blueprint of uh, ec- uh, economic kitaran is a white circle economic, uh, is actually stated that we need to reduce dependency on the natural resources. In fact, under SDG 12, is also highlighted the substantial reduce of waste generation to prevention, reduction, recycle, and reuse by 2030. And our, even though we are under currently is towards the end of RMK 12, so actually in this RMK, it stated that we targeted to achieve about 40% of national recycling rate by 2025. Okay, and under National Energy Transition Roadmaps,
it is highlighted that in terms of bioenergy potential in Malaysia is expected to increase from zero point 0.6 billion liters of biofuel in 2030, and it will be like increasing by maybe 20% or maybe more than that, because we predicted about 3.5 billion liters of biofuel will be produced in 2025. And this is, and according to the targets, by 2050, so 70% of our electricity capacity comes from renewable energy. So the conversions of the food waste to renewable energy gas, the conversion of food waste to renewable natural gas will offer a twofold solution, addressing waste management and as well as to boosting renewable energy target. Right. So the objective of this project is basically to turn the food waste to renewable natural gas. And our approach is we conducted life cycle analysis to recommend the best case scenario in the aspect of environmental sustainability through life cycle analysis. And the second one is to recommend the best case scenario in the aspect of economic sustainability through life cycle cost analysis. And the third one is to recommend the best case scenario in the aspects of economic feasibility, through techno-economic analysis. Right. So this is basically the methodology that we perform. And in terms of the boundary of the works, basically we actually covered the upstream, midstream, and also downstream. So in terms of the food waste collection, so we actually focusing more on the collection of the food waste, segregated food waste from the hotel, restaurants, and also residential area. Currently in Malaysia, the practice is the food waste still be dumped in the landfill area, and it will basically cause the methane emitted from the landfill area, right? So in this particular case, what we do is basically to collect the food waste from hotel, restaurant, and also residential area to the food waste collection hub, and then send it into the transfer station. And the anaerobic digestion and conversion of the biogas to renewable natural gas facility will be located at the transfer station before we send for the pre-treatment and biogas upgrading. So once it's upgraded, the methane will be, the purity of the methane can go up to more than 94%, which this is the standard that is required before it can be injected to the natural gas grid. Okay? And after the biogas upgraded, so it can be used for different utilization. For example, electricity generation, biocompressed natural gas, injection to the gas grid, and also changing it to bio-liquid natural gas. Right? So this is basically the system boundary. Okay? The first one is to show that the biogas is converted into electricity. Yeah? And in this case, we assume that the biogas is injected to the grid with feed-in tariff. Yeah? And the second one is, the second route is basically after the upgrading of the biogas, turn it into renewable natural gas, it will turn into electricity. And the third case study is the renewable natural gas will be injected to the gas grid pipeline, yeah, with the specific characteristic. And the fourth one is the renewable natural gas will be carried using virtual pipeline, yeah, and turn it into biocompressed natural gas to send to the industry. And the fifth one is to use the renewable natural gas to produce bio-liquid natural gas, bio-LNG. So basically, this is basically the information that we input into DABI for life cycle analysis. So we have all the information in terms of how much the electricity consumption, how much is the water consumption for each of the activities from the municipal waste, from the source to the electricity grid. Okay? Okay, this is basically all the boundary, for example, from renewable natural gas by methane to produce the electricity. Yeah, and all this data actually is gathered from one is from the pilot plant set up at TMBR, and another one is actually based on our discussion with all the stakeholders. Eh? So basically for the commercial scale, because there is one actually still under construction, so we had a discussion with all the stakeholders in order for us to get all these input data, right? Okay? And this is basically the conversion of renewable natural gas production for virtual gas pipeline. So basically in this case, we're assuming that the renewable natural gas will be compressed up to 200 bar, and it will be carried using truck to the uh, users, and basically for the industry application. Okay, and this is basically the case study number 4, which renewable natural gas production will be injected into gas pipeline. Yeah, and in this case, like I said, the requirement is basically to purify the biogas up to 94% purity. And this is the last one, which actually the renewable natural gas production will be converted into bioliquid natural gas, which actually we liquefy the gas, and then also transport it using truck to the users. Okay, and this is basically the results for life cycle analysis. So what we do is basically to compare the renewable natural gas for electricity generation to replace coal, and renewable natural gas for electricity generation from the grid. And if, for example, the biogas is used to produce electricity for replacing coal, and also biogas for electricity to replace the electricity grid. So what we can conclude here is actually in terms of the positive impact, because if you look at the right hand side, so it shows that the value is more than the right hand side. So basically what we can conclude is actually if for example we use biogas to replace the electricity from the grid, as well as from the coal, from biogas, and as well as renewable natural gas, the positive impact is more than the negative impact. So that is basically the right hand side is the impact generated by the process. If, for example, we convert it into biogas or also renewable natural gas. So it means that replacing electricity with biogas or renewable natural gas from food waste will give a positive environmental impact. So actually, we have done this for the whole cycle, including transportation, sorting, anaerobic digestion, biogas treatment, biogas upgrading, electricity generation, and then field emission avoidance. So we actually calculated all these emissions for the whole cycle, right? And this is basically the analysis for, right? And this is we compared for the case study number 3, 4, and 5, which actually renewable natural gas is converted into bioliquid natural gas to the pipeline injection, and as well as to virtual pipeline. Okay? And what we can conclude here is actually converting the food waste into renewable natural gas to LNG or pipeline injection and virtual pipeline also give a positive impact, not as much as converting into electricity. Okay, because if you can see, that is the right hand side is the impact generated by, for example, all the process biogas upgrading, compression, and so on. And the left hand side is basically the impact avoidance due to replacing the liquid natural gas using a conventional one with the renewable natural gas. So in terms of the impact, is not so much as compared to using the renewable natural gas or biogas to electricity. Okay? So, and that is in terms of environmental impact. Now we move to the life cycle cost analysis. Okay, so we have done the life cycle analysis for all the case, and then what we can conclude is the case number 4, case number 4 because that is the lowest. That is the lowest in terms of life cycle cost analysis, RM per year. So it shows that actually case number 4 is food waste to renewable natural gas to grid injection is more favorable since natural gas pipeline cost is not considered in this analysis. Yeah? And then the second one is case study number 1, which is food waste to biogas to electricity. Okay? And this is basically the cost breakdown for electricity generation if the biogas is used for biogas versus renewable natural gas to electricity. And as you can see, the big chunk is actually from waste transportation. So that's the reason actually to optimize the route for the waste collection to the transportation or to the plant for the conversion of electricity is very, very crucial because the big chunk is actually contributed from the waste transportation. And the second one is the electricity generation. Okay, right. And this is also the cost background of RNG to virtual pipeline, grid injection, and also LNG. And for the virtual pipeline, about 36% is the cost of the virtual pipeline itself. Okay, and for the food waste to RNG to grid injection, the big chunk is from the waste transportation, and also RNG to LNG, the highest contribution is the process of liquefying the renewable natural gas. Okay. Right? And we actually try to compare the cost, the levelized cost of electricity if we converting biogas and RNG to electricity with the electricity tariff, with feed-in tariff. So what we can conclude is case number 1, food waste to biogas to electricity is very competitive. Very competitive because the price is actually lower than the electricity tariff. But for the case number 2, food waste to RNG and to produce electricity is a little bit more expensive as compared to the electricity tariff. So in this case, actually, the carbon credit actually can help to make it more cost competitive. Yeah? And then we have done the sensitivity analysis for different scales of the food waste ton per day, and I think this is not surprising. The higher the better, right? So I already got the signal, to stop. Okay, so I think I'm not going to talk about this. And we also try to compare the levelized cost of biomethane for the conversions of food waste to renewable natural gas to pipeline, the injection, and also bio-LNG. And then we try to make the comparison in terms of decision metrics, in terms of environmental impact and levelized cost. So the environmental impact, so we actually, what we can conclude from here, for the small scale food waste, actually renewable natural gas to grid injection and also biogas to electricity is the best because it's actually give the net near zero impact and also positive impact, and also as well as low levelized cost. Yeah? And if, for example, we increase the scale up to 1350, this one is actually commercial scale based on the case study in Taman Beringin, Kuala Lumpur. So we can conclude that the same thing, RNG to grid injection and also biogas to electricity is the most favorable in terms of environmental impact and also levelized cost. And for the RNG to electricity, it will become cost competitive if it's also coupled with the carbon credit. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation today, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Hashim, for your valuable insights on biogas and biomethane for electricity generation and commercialization. So before we let Professor Dr. Engineer Hashim go, well, we'd like to ask everyone to go here in front. If you can also show the PowerPoint slide, and we'll have a group photo. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I received a new information. The group photo is just outside in front of the booth so that we will all fit the frame. Thank you. Okay, so are we all back? So thank you for joining our photo session. For the interest of time, we would like to request if you can just shorten your presentation a bit by instead of 15, 13 minutes, if that's okay. So to open our session, we have Ms. Dwiwi Cirillo from Caraga State University presenting how IoT-based technologies can transform community infrastructure in remote areas. Ms. Cirillo.
Uh, Good morning, everyone. Uh, Distinguished chair, researcher, and also all participants. Today, I will present my research about geothermal hydrogen critical elements and multidimensional perspective, the role of emerging techs in low carbon development. The most study there are focused there is focus on the developed country with strong financial capacity and police framework. Meanwhile, the developing nation remain underrepresented in the integrated analysis. Uh, the background is to achieve the global energy transition target, uh, to achieve the Paris Agreement target. The global will keep the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2015. The most study is focused on the developed countries with the stronger capacity, while the developing country is still explore and emerging tech research frameworks in the geothermal, hydrogen, sparately and not integrated in the frameworks. Geothermal is abundant in the ring of the fires located in the geological. And the green hydrogen we see as the carry cross-sector industry transportation with the production and infrastructure challenges. And the critical mineral is vital for the batteries and the clean energy. It concentrate the supply chains and geopolitical and also environmental risk. This study addressed the gap offering the multi-comparative analysis, highlighted synergy challenges, policy implication, implementing emerging clean energy technology in the geological active developing countries, in the developing countries. The methodology I use is qualitative comparative, and I use the systematic literature, secondary data with open access, and then comparative policy and technology assessment to identify the best practice transferability, and then evaluate the emerging clean energy technology resources, research rich and geological active in the developing country. This is for geothermal. Indonesia is the world largest producer for geothermal, is with the highest reserve, doesn't explore and doesn't have to install it. Only 10% install it in Indonesia. Is in this year is the capacity installed is 2.5, and in the total resource is 20, 20 25 20 25,000 gigawatt. Is only 10% installed, and the Philippines is 1.9, but have a long standing for the tariff fit in tariff policy. But in Ireland, Germany and Japan is has have police and financial incentive used in their project. So the project is sustained in there. And then located in for geothermal is around the ring of the fires. We can look in the point of right in the picture. Geological has a research, but not so not sufficient uh, without the established police infrastructure and social acceptance. And then the next, this is the emerging geothermal energy. With the install is a very stable to install it in their country for 2000 for 2018 until 2015. 25. Oh sorry, 2025. Sorry, 2018 until 2025. This is for the hydrogen. The hydrogen in the developing country is also in the early stage demo. And we can look in the Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam is early stage. Then then only uh, in the Indonesia is early stage demo in Ulu Belu, um, Pertamina, and then the Philippines is feasibility study with uncertainty police, and then the Vietnam in the initial pilot. In the Germany and the Iceland is multiple industrial pilot, and the Iceland is only the small market. This is the critical element for energy transition. We can look in this geological factor from the tectonic setting, ultramafic complex, and then the rock, and then the hydrothermal system, and the sedimentary rock, and the evaluation of geology is very rich in the developing country, such as the Indonesia, Philippines, Sulawesi, Malaysia, Vietnam, and also Myanmar. We can look in here. For Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam is become the importer, is become the producer, and Germany, Japan, and Ireland is become the user of the critical element produced by Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. The fair work analysis emerging clean technology is uh, uh, dimension for the research, police, finance, tech, infrastructure, human capital, ESG, and the market. In the Asia is rich of the resource, but the police is fragmented, and then we can bridging the strategy. We can look in there to help the advance the resource and advanced economy become the goods in the implementation. This is a sustainable framework. The sustainable framework we can integrate it into the policy, regional cooperation, and technological transfer. This is the emerging of the technology. The emerging the technology for the critical element we focus in the downstream industrial, like making the from the raw material to be half material use. We can build the smelter, but the smelter is much challenging for the developing country. Become uh, they must adopt the technology from the other countries. And then the German, Japan, and Ireland then is become a user of their products. This is the recommendation. The recommendation is become we can look the challenges and the policy recommendation in there, like for geothermal is become social is become the tariff and incentive become clear in front, and then integrated about the geothermal and hydrogen co-production, and also most important is social acceptance. And then second is the green hydrogen. The green hydrogen is established. We must have a roadmap of the national target for the countries, and then creating hydrogen corridors. And then for the critical element, we have expand the smelter and batteries, and has a standard for environment too, and become develop the recycle and circular economy pathway and the diversity trader partners, and link police industry about the foster ASEAN, UK, Japan, and then police framework, and then incentive for public-private partnership. And then social environment resilience is strength community engagement and integrated environment and safeguard, ensure equitable local value capture. And then the conclusion, geothermal, hydrogen, and critical mineral are central to the low carbon transition, but we can remain a supplier raw material. We can transform to the global hub for the local energy innovation by the technology, not only the producer, but we can transform to the energy innovation. The abundant resource is not enough for sustainable governance, and innovation are the real game, the challengers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have questions from the audience? Okay, if there's none, then we move on to the next one. Thank you so much, Ms. Dewi Rajmawati. Our next presenter is Dr. Bakringa Long, who would explore how artificial intelligence can improve energy efficiency and equity in urban communities.
Hello. Hello.
Dr. Long?
Thank you very much, sir. Very good morning, everyone. My name is Pariyan Long. I'm a computer science lecturer from the Institute of Technology of Cambodia. And today is my great honor to present you all about the AI-driven energy management system for urban low-income housing. So you must know that every day technology has been involved in every sector, and AI technology especially has been used in finance, energy, and other sector. And we can also use AI for the sustainability of energy. And in this topic, I will focus on how we use AI, but not the AI in overall. The word AI is so big, and in this topic, we just focus on the subset of AI, like machine learning and deep learning. We just use some algorithm for the forecasting and prediction of the energy usage. Okay. And a bit of background, why you need to improve the energy or reduce the energy usage in the urban area, because you know in every country in Asia, the labor or the young people try to move to the city. So the city is more and more crowded by day to day, and so the need of using energy are, is increasing. Uh, and when the energy has been used in the city, it not when it's used not effectively, it can affect to other environment or uh, can be can be lead to shortage of energy. So in here, that's why we propose an AI or some AI algorithm to predict, to forecast into two parts. One is to forecast the energy usage by time series data, and the second one we predict with the appliance, electricity or electronic appliance, which one, which electric appliance that are most use of electricity. And this is just some literature review related to energy usage. Actually, we have more here, but we just put some, and it related to energy usage efficiency and how to predict or how to forecast the energy usage. And in here we have used two data sets. The first data set is from CUBMS Smart Building Energy and AICEE data. It's from Thailand. It's a building in Thailand. And in this data set, there are 9 floors, but we explore, now we have explored 1 floor already. We have another 8 floors more. And so the result in here will be only one for 1 floor. But here is the time series data. It consists of time series data minute by minute. And it contains around 525,000 rows, because it's minute by minute. It consists of 2 years. Consists of 2 years, 2019 and 20, 18 and 19. It's just for the purpose of training for the machine learning. A bit background of the machine learning. You know, machine learning is a model or algorithm that let the system can learn from the data. We need a lot of data to train the machine. When the machine can learn a lot from the data, it can take the pattern, so it can predict efficiently. It's different from the statistic. Statistic is just the calculation, and machine learning is try to take the pattern from the data. It learn like a human brain. Okay. So this data is just a time series data, although it has so many columns, but we focus on the output in output usage of the electricity in that floor, the first floor, and from time to time in 1 minute. So we divided the data into 2 parts. The first part is for training. The second part is for testing. Why do we need to do this? Because, like I said before, machine need to learn. But how can we know that machine learn effectively or not? So we need the data to test the model. We need to test. We cannot take a new data to test it. We don't know. We need to use the existing data. So we divided 80% for the machine learning to learn, and the 20% for the system, for the machine learning to test. And we found that it's got so little error, like MAE or MSE, mean absolute error, mean square error, it's so small. Compare it to the electricity usage. Yeah, it's so small. And we have used another data set from Indonesia. We have put the topic of that that paper. And in this data, it's focused on the dominant feature. The dominant feature here is focused on the electric appliance like air conditioner, electric kettle, fan, and other electronic that use electric. But we don't know which one. But in this paper, they have identified some appliance that affect the electricity usage. They have already, but I forgot. I will take a look again. So from this factor dominant feature here, it's not my research. I just take it from other. But in here they use traditional method. I just change it to use machine learning and deep learning. Just improve their accuracy or their performance. Like MSE, MAE is better. But I didn't put the table comparison here. In the paper publication, I will put in detail. Because in here I just, not yet the full result, like the first one, it's just one floor. Actually, it has 9 floors. And in here, it's not fully yet. Maybe it has something more. I have to read more. Okay. And this the result. The error is so small compared to the existing research. And for the dominant feature, I'm not sure yet. I will try to increase or reduce the dominant feature or apply machine learning to find which appliance or electric appliance that cost the most electricity usage. And I forgot to mention here, the data from this research paper got 100,000. No, 10,000, sorry, 10,043 rows. And it has 25 columns. The 25 column here is the electric city appliance. Yeah, we want to define from the 25. The paper fine already. No, we just apply the machine learning here. Sorry. And let me pick this one. And from this topic, we found that AI can be used to improve the energy usage to forecast or to predict effectively if we compare to statistical model. But in here, when we use machine learning or deep learning, we need to make sure that the data is big enough. If the data is so small, machine cannot learn anything. If the data is so small, we need to use statistical model instead. But if the data is big enough, like 1,000 row up, we can apply machine learning and so on. Okay. So AI alone or machine learning alone cannot deal effectively with the energy usage or the prediction of energy usage effectively. We need other components. Like the first one is we need to integrate it with renewable energy system or electricity system. And the second one, we need to apply it or integrate it with the IoT, Internet of Things, to make it real-time prediction. This our future work. And other thing, we need to study about the dynamic pricing, long-term study, and scale we can deploy it to the real system. Yeah. So this is just one part of our presentation. Actually, I have another presenter in the next room, 3OC, and the topic is something related. The topic is energy efficiency. Maybe some missing part over there. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Long. Do we have questions from the audience? All right, none. So we move on to the next one. Our third presenter is Mr. Rachmat Hermawan. He will discuss Indonesia's path towards decarbonization through carbon capture and storage.
Okay, thank you very much for attention. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rahmat Hermawan. I am part of PTPLN, a state-owned company in Indonesia. I'm junior expert in strategic planning of power generation division. Okay, in this presentation, I will present about the retrofit Indonesia coal-fired power plant Indonesia, which is there is opportunities, costs, and policy implication. Okay, you can see this business as usual. If we, Indonesia, operate in coal-fired plant until 2060, what's about that? Indonesia is expected to produce 1 million tons CO2 in 2060. But in other case, we have NDC, National Determined Contributions, 30%, 34% in 2030. That's our commitment. And then we have commitment also in NZE 2060. So how we can do that? So this one, we talk about decarbonization. Decarbonization, we have so many strategy. First is like carbon capture, biomass, and implementation of the VRA, and then etc. like hydrogen and ammonia. But in this case, I will explain about the clean coal technology. Okay, this is our background why we choose clean coal technology and what the technology which is could be implemented. So we try to several strategies like retrofit using carbon capture and then upgrading from subcritical to be supercritical or ultra supercriticals, and then or the other case we try to get the operational excellence, which is we optimize the heat rate of the power plant, and then we try to analyze operational excellence is in the money, yeah, without any more additional cost. But if we try to retrofit of the power plant using carbon capture, upgrading of the boiler, it will be not on the money, we call it. And then in this case, what is the best technology for implementation for coal-fired power plant? What I said before in the background, mostly in the using coal-fired power plant. We have three technologies like carbon capture storage, and then biomass co-firing, and operational excellence. We have implemented for operational excellence. Maybe you can heard Nusantara Power, Indonesia Power. We have digital twin to optimize of the operations, optimize of the heat rate, which is can reduce of the coal and generate more electricity. And then the other case is biomass. We have roadmap until 2030, which is we have commitment to NDC, National Determined Contribution. But in this research, I will explain about the carbon capture storage, which is how we can select of the power plant that should be implemented of the carbon capture. So this is what the challenges if we implement. We have several priority of the power plant, which is where is the pilot project, where is the large scale. I will explain later after several presentations. Main challenging is related to additional costs, yeah, relating to LCOE. You know, I think every country in Asia have studied about the implementing carbon capture, which is can be twice of the cost. And then the leakage, the operational risk, leakage in the well. We try to coordinate with the other state-owned company like Pertamina, like Petronas, like BP Indonesia, but yeah, it's still more detail of the study to get the operational risk about this. Okay, this is a scenario, yeah, the diagram, the simplify, we can capture of the carbon we can utilize for what? For cement industry, for chemicals, or we can storage because we capture more than, like you said before, 1 million, yeah. So mostly we can store in the reservoir. And this is the map, yeah, the location which is Java Island, the location, the power plant in Java is the base load condition, which is capacity factor is 80%, and then the location of the well, like Aquifer, like BP, Petronas, any others in Java. So we try to analyze where is the probability, where is the priority of the power plant. Okay, this is our method to select the priority, the power plant. First consideration, MACC, marginal abatement cost curve, and then additional consideration. How we select? We select operational life, which is our ministry have long duration, long life of the asset, which is 40 years. So we select plan which more than 25 years life remaining. And the minimum scale is more than 250 megawatts. The efficiency more than 50 capacity factor, which is it is a base load operation in generating electricity. And then the location should be under 250 kilometers from the sink. And then the technology, because mostly Indonesia for state-owned company from PTPLN is subcritical boiler, so we select subcritical boiler, not IPP. In this research, it's about the asset from the PLN. And we select 10 units for gigawatts, the total of the capacity. Okay, you can see this is the list, the short list that we have method to select the power plant, which is more than 25 years life remaining, more than 250 megawatts capacity, average capacity factor more than 50%. And why the Indramayu is the most one, the priority one? Because it is near of the sink, the carbon sink. Okay, we have talked about the technical. What about the cost? This, what I said before. You can see there's this one, LCOE. We have baseline LCOE for core fiber plant is 700 Indonesia rupiah, or in the USD is about the 4.5 maybe cent per kilowatt hours. If we implement carbon capture, it's more than twice. Yeah, Indramayu can 10 cent USD per kilowatt hours and others, and the Indramayu is the lowest one. The CO2 abatement. CO2 abatement means that how to decrease of the CO2. This is 18 million tons CO2, and the abatement cost. This is 900 Indonesian rupiah per ton CO2. It means that I want to convert to USD is about the 40 or 50 USD per ton CO2. It is highest. It's kind of we implement to build one power plant. This is the challenges of implement carbon capture. And NPV, I know everyone in here should understand if the NPV is minus, I think it is not feasible, yeah, this one. So how the strategy? Oh, I want to deep dive what the cost structure of the core fiber plant in carbon capture. Mostly is retrofit capital expenditure. And then why the pipeline capex is lower? Because it nears of the carbon sink. And the other costs like this one. This is better than the others. If there is a long of the location, it should be liquefaction and regasification. I think it's very costly. Like the others from Indramayu. And then, please remind me if the time is up. Some key challenges will not be resolved to deployment of current technologies. Yeah, what I said before is increasing LCOE, and then the CCS environment risk, absence cost addressable measures, and increasing cost implementation. It's all about cost and the risk of environment. We have strategy, we have focus group discussion with the academic like ITB, like Ministry of ASDM from Pertamina and several of the oil and gas company. We are to integrate it, how to study, which is can be utilized of the CO2 for EOR or only the storage, because for us, as emitter from the CO2, this is a cost center. But maybe for the oil and gas could be a revenue. This is could be engagement and supported by the government. So uh, this is a five core element of CCUS business: funding, carbon incentive, end-to-end commercial models, go-to-market strategy, infrastructure, architecture planning, and partnership strategy. We have get the partnership with the like Carbon Clean, like G Coal, several to operate. Maybe example like in Japan, they want to get the operational to build of the carbon capture, but the carbon they will claim. That's kind of the strategy will be implemented from kind of the Japan. This is a five key success factor needs to launch CCS project. First, regulatory support. Actually, in Indonesia already implement of the regulation for CCUS. Unfortunately, this challenges for us as power plant electricity company, which is there is no incentive for utilities like us. So we are to engagement of the government how to get the incentive, and then supporting to get the implementation of the carbon capture. And then commercial model and partnership, we have discussed directly with drugs. Drugs also implemented biomass conversion from 100 coal to 100 biomass, and then they have implemented of the carbon capture. We are to ingest from them also. And capital return, this is the case one. I think kind of GTM, like others scheme for business is possible. And then maybe in Asian, like cross border from CO2, I heard like Papua last month, yeah. Coal plant features and public affairs, yeah. Okay, I hope this one in this room can share if there is experience in development of CO2 in your country. We can engage to develop of CCS study. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions from the audience? Yes, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Ahmad.
Good morning.
I'm Raisa from Bahar Lowen Consulting. Uh, First of all, thank you for the presentation. Really interesting and really thorough. Second is my question is probably focused more on financing. As we know, perhaps how is the appetite of financiers and perhaps other financing structures for CCUS retrofitting in your research? Because that is sort of a transitional sort of project. It's not really a renewable energy project. And so, how are you seeing the appetite of financiers in that regard? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The requirement of the funding, yeah, the goals of implementing carbon capture is not extend of the lifetime. That's the requirement of the ADB, like World Bank, not extended of the lifetime. That's the most requirement. And then, so our study is which is still more than 15 years of life remaining. That's the case. And then we try to ingest to there is several country provide to get the business scheme like Japan. Japan provide like GTM, Japan Clean Mechanism, which is they will develop, they will operate, but the carbon they will claim. This is we try to mix, yeah, which is the cost benefit analysis. Why all of the carbon they will claim. Nah, this one the strategy is there is part of Indonesia can claim about that, or maybe they will rent of the land, like kind of that. Yeah, still discuss, yeah, further with the several provider of the fund. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry if there is not completed answer. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hermawan. Next, Mr. Jason Occidental presents an innovative hybrid energy solution designed for coastal resilience and energy independence.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Engineer Jason Occidental from Ateneo de Davao University, particularly at the Mindanao Renewable Energy R&D Center. And I will present our research on marine inclusive hybrid renewable energy microgrids for coastal and islandic communities. So this is a techno-economic evaluation. So to set the scene, the Philippines is an archipelagic country, and a lot of ASEAN countries also have tiny islands that are inhabitable. So it has also a coastline of around 36,000 kilometers, and only about 2,000 of its islands are considered habitable according to National Geographic. So given this geographic situation, one of the pressing issues here is how do we meet the energy needs of island communities? Because a lot of these communities, even right now, are still not connected to the grid. So there are three major islands in the Philippines. Our particular research covers on the island of Mindanao. Electrification there are still at around 75%, in contrast to the other regions, which are around 90% already. So these systems are very vulnerable if they are connected to the grid, because a lot of these grid connections from the smaller islands to the main islands are connected via undersea cables. So there is a high cost of installation and maintenance. It is susceptible to damage from storms, seismic activity. So if you've heard in the news last week, we have experienced a magnitude 7.4 earthquake. So that is also one of the vulnerabilities that we have with regards to our energy security, as well as marine activity. And there's also a single point of failure. Since mentioned, we are using undersea cables. One error could lead to disconnection of that island to the main grid. So power outages can last days to weeks. No? So we present the case of Samal Island. So that is located in the southernmost part of the Philippines. So it has a growing population, which is around 116,000 people, and a total land area of around 20,000 hectares. So it's located in Davao Gulf. The easiest access to the island is just via ferry, although it could be connected by bridge, but that's still not happening as for now. And it's also a booming tourist town because it has a lot of nice beaches, and it also has around 200 hotels already. So the energy demand is quite significant in this island. So for Samal Island, they are currently using an undersea cable. So it uses a 2-kilometer undersea cable connected to the main grid. And one of the most significant cable breaks happened almost 10 years ago, resulting into month-long blackouts. So one of the breakages that happened during this time, they said it was just a 2-week repair, but the repair lasted around 6 months, and constantly the island still suffers from cable breaks as well as energy deficit. No? So the island city reports 2.7 million in annual losses and has commissioned an 8-megawatt diesel generator to address this blackout in the year 2024. So even 10 years after the break, the most significant cable break has happened, there is still a lack of energy in the island. So what our research institution is looking at is alternative energy sources. So what we are trying to see is alternative to the use of diesel generators, since this is also a common solution or workaround in a lot of island provinces, island cities around southern Philippines. So we are looking at two renewable energy sources, that is solar energy and ocean energy. So why is this also very significant to shift to renewable? So in the Mindanao region of the Philippines, it is, or they have committed 50% share of renewable energy by 2030. For comparison, the national commitment for renewable energy transition is 50% at the year 2050. So Mindanao wants to make it 50% renewable in the next 5 years, and also 100% electrification, meaning a lot of these communities that are not connected to the grid or have no access to energy will have access to energy. So that is around an additional 1,500 megawatts capacity. So what we are looking here is hybridization and implementation of island microgrids, since the use of undersea cables are quite inefficient, and it has been evident that it's not delivering the needed energy requirements of these islands. So one of the things that we are trying to explore is the emerging technology of ocean renewable energy. So there is a target already for ocean renewable energy because there is a significant potential. No? So this is national data. For wave energy, it's around 33 to 35 kilowatts per meter per year potential. And for tidal, it is 40 to 60 gigawatts potential. And for ocean thermal, there's also initial research on it, but our focus for this study is on tidal energy. So one of the key instruments that we've used is an acoustic Doppler current profiler. So this is used to measure the water current velocities at the different depths. So our location for deployment of the ADCP is in between Samal Island and Davao City, which is the main island of Mindanao. So in between, there is what we call a Pakiputan Strait. So we have set an ADCP there to collect our water velocity data. So these are some of our assessment findings. So we've done 5 data collections of the tidal coefficient and peak velocity. What we've done here is we tried to also correlate this with the World Ocean Circulation Experiment, which was 1993 data, but it already covered hourly data for the entire year. So we tried to correlate in order for us to get the potential, which is around 55.3 kilowatts per square meter. So that is for tidal energy. And for solar energy, we used the National Renewable Energy Laboratories data. So it has a 40 kilometer spatial resolution, and it uses climatological solar radiation model, or the CSR model, for us to collect these values as well. So collecting them, we've used Homer Energy for our microgrid simulation, but since Homer Energy doesn't support tidal turbines yet, what we've used is wind turbines. So we just modified the specifications of our wind turbines in order for it to suit the specifications of the tidal turbine. So you have here the Shotel 4-meter diameter wind turbine and the Shotel 5-meter. So what we've done here is we've entered its own specifications. So that is for the 5-meter, we have 54 kilowatt rated power. And then for 4 meters, we had 62 kilowatts rated power. No? So as part of our simulation, we also needed a load profile. So we've tried to collect some initial load profile of 11 kilowatts, which is covering essential infrastructure in the ferry terminals of Samal Island. So using that simulation, we've conducted 21,000 simulations using the given parameters. So what we've found out is we had 3 significant suggested combinations for our hybrid system. So we have PV plus tidal energy. So it uses 20 kilowatts PV array, 2 Shotel 5-meter turbines, and 15 kilowatts battery. So this results in a high initial investment at the cost of 100% renewable system. Then for the case 2, We have 10 kilowatt diesel generator, 5 kilowatt array, and 10 kilowatt battery. So this system is cheaper, more reliable. However, this is only 10% renewable. However, it requires the generator to run at 4,000 hours to meet the demand over the period. So this results into high fuel expenses. And for our third case, we've used PV plus tidal plus diesel. So we kept the 10 kilowatt diesel generator, 5 kilowatt PV array, and one 5-meter tidal turbine and a 5 kilowatt battery. So for this case, we've used the diesel generator as just a backup. So this is a bit higher investment compared to System 2, but it reduces the operating cost since it only requires 978 hours. No? So just a quarter. And this energy mix is 99% renewable. So for our conclusion, so it's summarized here, how much was the predicted capital outlay from the simulation. So as you can see, for System 1, which is 100% renewable, it's the most expensive for initial capital, and also the most expensive for the COE. But for System 2, which is just 10% renewable, we have the lowest initial capital and a COE of 0.55 dollar per kilowatt hour. And in our last system, which is 99% renewable, a bit higher initial capital compared to the second one, but it has a lower COE, trying to show promise that the use of renewable energy is still significant, especially if we keep these diesel generators simply as backup and not main reliance in our microgrids. So I think that's all for my presentation. I'm ready to receive questions.
Do we have questions from the audience? All right. If there are none, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much for presentations. Your presentation really related to our project also, microgrid, which is should be implement of the renewable energy, but the reliable of the system. If you compare to the your simulation, what about the using tidal? Is there any graph of the load, the condition of the system?
For that, we haven't looked at the tidal turbines themselves because some of these are just off the shelf. At the specifications of Shuttle, I think these are turbines coming from Ireland.
Okay, okay. So you all directly select the type of the turbine, yeah? In the Homer.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So the tidal turbine specifications are provided by the vendor, and we just inputted it in the simulation.
Okay, okay. So because we are studying using like tidal, PV, and then BESS and diesel in the Flores, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to our fifth presenter, Mr. Kongpat Paibunukulji, introduces a construction material innovation that contributes to energy efficiency and carbon reduction. Is Mr. Kongpat here? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, great. So I think we move on to the last one, which is my presentation. Okay, so Again, good morning, everyone. Since I'm the session chair, I'm the last to present. So I will be presenting my research with Mr. Justin Ricafort, my co-researcher. And as you know, we all say that solar energy is the way forward. And since here in the ASEAN region, we are blessed with abundant sunlight, it only makes sense to harness it for clean and sustainable energy. So our research explores solar PV planning. We want to make it sustainable. We want to make it systematic and scalable. And while our case study focuses on the Davao region in the Philippines, the same approach can be applied also to other ASEAN cities. So this is a project of the Ateneo de Manila University, and this reflects our mission to be persons for others. Okay, so before we delve deeper into the research, let me first share what we already know from existing literature. Sue and Bronson identified 8 important variables to consider when assessing the viability of solar energy. Their framework has been widely used for solar energy planning, but however, in our study, since this is a pilot application in the ASEAN context, we adapted and simplified these variables to better fit the local data environment and regional conditions. Colosso cautioned that data from UAVs alone are not sufficient for comprehensive solar site assessment. That is why in our study, we did not rely on UAV data. Instead, we used GIS-based datasets, which are not only more widely available, but it offers greater spatial coverage and sensitivity, making them more sustainable for large-scale planning across multiple cities. Colosso also emphasized the importance of government support in promoting solar adoption. This aligns with our hope that the national and local governments across ASEAN will continue to invest and incentivize renewable energy development. A study of Drodz and Kusol explored a similar GIS-based approach to solar site planning, but it was conducted in Ukraine, a region with very different climatic and geographical conditions compared to Southeast Asia. We wanted to conduct a study closer to home, so we chose Davao region in the Philippines. Among the other major metropolitan areas, Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Metro Baguio, Metro Davao offers the largest available land area suitable for solar development, along with consistent solar irradiance throughout the year. In the next slides, we will explain why Davao was ideal for this pilot application. So throughout this project, we hope to contribute meaningfully to UN Sustainable Goal number 7, which is to promote affordable and clean energy, and of course SDG 9, which advances innovation and infrastructure toward stronger climate action. Beyond the technical contribution, this research also seeks to empower local stakeholders from policy planners by providing data-driven tools for sustainable decision making. And of course, as project of the Ateneo, it embodies our core value of being persons for others, using research and innovation in service for greater good. For this study, we applied a fuzzy logic to integrate multiple spatial data sets into a singular solar sustainability index. We created fuzzy sets representing key factors that influence solar potential, namely slope, global horizontal irradiance, and proximity to roads. Each of these variables was normalized and expressed as a degree of suitability rather than a fixed value. These fuzzy sets were then combined mathematically to generate an overall sustainability index, helping identify the most viable locations for solar PV installation. So these are the reasons why we chose Davao region, aside from the things that we mentioned earlier. First, it is less prone to typhoons compared to other major Philippine cities, making it more resilient for long-term solar infrastructure. Second, it is the largest urban center by land area, providing extensive space for potential solar installation. Davao's rapid population and economic growth also led to a rising energy demand, which is currently being mostly by coal, about 89% of its energy mix. Thus, there is a clear opportunity for solar. On the average, the Davao region exhibits moderate levels of global horizontal irradiance, or GHI, which measures the solar energy received per unit area. In our analysis, the region registers around 4 to 5 kilowatt hour per square meter per day, which is sufficient to support viable and efficient solar PV generation. This is also consistent with our resource providing for strong foundation for scalability and reliability. Since it's often difficult to build large-scale solar PV systems with dense metropolitan areas, we focus instead on identifying flat and unobstructed zones that are more practical for development. Using GIS-based slope analysis, which mapped our area with minimal elevation changes, which are ideal for solar installation in terms of both construction, feasibility, and energy efficiency. The slope map became a key input layer in our fuzzy logic model, helping us narrow down the most suitable locations before we combine it with other variables like irradiance and proximity to roads. From our slope analysis, we identified that Davao del Norte and Compostela Valley contains large, flat expanses of land that are ideal for large-scale solar PV systems. In general, the maximum allowable slope for installation is about 15 degrees, which beyond that, panel efficiency and construction costs begin to decline. The terrain in these provinces is well below the threshold, indicating excellent potential for solar development. Their flatness and accessibility makes them highly suitable for future solar farm projects, especially when combined with favorable irradiance levels. Here we are shown how fuzzy logic membership sets were constructed for each of our main variables, the global horizontal irradiance, proximity to roads, and slope. Each factor was expressed as a membership of function ranging from 0 to 1, indicating its degree of suitability for PV development. Building on the previous slide, this map shows the composite results of our fuzzy logic model, which integrates global horizontal irradiance, slope, and proximity to roads into a single solar suitability index. The formula on the left represents this integration, where all three parameters are averaged and conditioned by slope and distance threshold to ensure only feasible sites are included. So looking at the map, the dark blue areas represent high suitability zones, flat, well-exposed areas close to roads. The lighter blue regions indicate moderate suitability, where minor limitations may exist. And the red zones are low suitability area, typically with those steep terrain or limited access, or maybe they are in the middle of the city. Here, the green areas represents the best and most suitable areas for solar PV development. The gray areas indicate moderate suitability and limited accessibility. By generating maps like this, planners and local governments can easily visualize priority zones for renewable energy development. This kind of spatial decision support can guide policy, zoning, and infrastructure planning, helping ASEAN cities know where to begin as they transition towards sustainable and renewable energy systems. In conclusion, the project demonstrates the viability of large-scale solar PV systems in the Davao region, showing that GIS and fuzzy logic can be powerful tools for data-driven renewable energy planning. Beyond its technical findings, this study directly supports Sustainable Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, and SDG 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And true to the Ateneo mission of being presence for others, this work aims to empower stakeholders and policymakers with evidence-based insights that promote sustainability and social responsibility. Because our project is exploratory, it naturally comes with some limitation. Our analysis focused only on available land use data, and for energy component, we just use the global horizontal irradiance as the primary parameter. Other critical factors such as natural, disaster risk, soil stability, or long-term environmental resilience were beyond the scope of this initial phase. As we speak, Davao is in the process of rebuilding after being recently struck by a major earthquake. This reminds us that resilience and sustainability must go hand in hand with energy planning. This limitation highlights the need for future studies that integrate disaster risk assessment and climate resilience metrics into solar site models. For future work, we recommend refining and expanding the model by integrating more specific land use data, such as protected areas, farmlands, and urban zones, to better define where solar development can or cannot take place. We also aim to include solar energy metrics beyond just global horizontal irradiance to capture seasonal and directional variations in sunlight. Finally, incorporating natural hazard layers such as flood, landslides, and earthquake risks will make the analysis not only more comprehensive but more aligned with the principles of resilient and sustainable urban planning. So thank you very much. If you have questions. So if not, I would like to close our session. This session presents cutting-edge research advancing Southeast Asia's pursuit of sustainable, you have? Yes? Oh, okay. Is there anyone presenting? Okay, all right. Okay, all right, sure. So I'll just close then so that we have time. The studies collectively demonstrate how digital innovation and renewable integration can address the region's diverse challenges, from rural electrification to urban energy efficiency. AI-driven energy management system empower low-income household in Jakarta and Manila to achieve similar energy savings. Complementing this are Indonesia's CCU's retrofitting strategies for coal power plants, offering a feasible decarbonization pathway aligned with national net zero goals. Further innovation include hybrid tidal solar microgrids designed for coastal resilience in Mindanao, silica-based interlocking bricks that improve thermal performance while sequestering CO2, and fuzzy logic GIS models identifying optimal solar PV sites in Davao City for replication across the ASEAN region. Together, these works illustrate a regional shift toward data-informed, context-sensitive, and equitable energy transition, where engineering ingenuity and sustainable goals converge to build smarter, cleaner, and more resilient communities across Southeast Asia. So this is King Harold Recto, your session chair for today. Thank you all for coming.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just would like to check if everyone is in already. So, as Dr. Muhammad Zaid, not here. Dr. David Teh, Mr. Yu, okay. And then Miss Cindy, she's not here, and Mr. Kim Yin Woo. Okay, so let's just give another 10 minutes maybe. Good morning, distinguished participants and colleagues and the presenters. Welcome to this parallel session on energy efficiency technologies and measures, part of the 5th ASEAN International Conference on Energy and Environments, or AICE, under the ASEAN Energy Business Forum 2025. So my name is Afham Kilmi. I'm the analyst of energy modeling and policy planning from the ASEAN Center for Energy. It's my pleasure to serve you as the session chair for this morning. This session focuses on one of the key pillars of ASEAN's clean energy transition, which is improving energy efficiency through innovative technologies, effective policies, and practical measures. The studies and experiences that will be shared today will help us better understand how ASEAN can enhance energy savings, reduce emissions, increase cost savings, and strengthen energy security across the region. We have several insightful presentations lined up for this session. Each presenter will have 15 minutes in total, including the Q&A. Just make sure that each presenter can deliver their presentation timely. So I kindly ask all speakers to manage their own time and allow for the interaction with the audience in the room. So without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker, Mr. Jason Harvey T. Lorenzo, who will present about using deep Q networks for optimized energy savings and user comfort in air-conditioned environments. Mr. Lorenzo, the time is yours.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. And again, I am Jason Lorenzo from the Ateneo de Manila University, and I'm here to present our paper on the use of AI, namely the deep Q networks, or DQNs, for optimized energy savings and user comfort in air-conditioned environments. So first, let's discuss why we're tackling this in the first place. And as incomes rise and temperatures increase in the ASEAN region especially, AC control is becoming more of a necessity. And the problem is that it's also a major driver in energy demand. And as seen here, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems account to about 65% of building electricity use. And that is a significant contributor in the higher year-over-year peak loads and costs, especially in the Philippines, where energy can be very expensive, third highest in Asia. So the benefits of this study is really threefold. First is to reduce consumer expenses. Second is to ease the pressure in the grid. And third is to support national and regional goals in energy efficiency and sustainability. And to address these issues, we developed an automated system to optimize AC energy use while maintaining user comfort. And this system, more specifically, has a monitoring system that can monitor energy use, environmental conditions such as temperature and humidity, and time. Second, we also built it with an interface that for manual control, status display, and logging of user preference so that they can still use their AC as they wish. Third is, of course, that we can implement a deep Q network agent to balance comfort and energy saving, which is the main goal of this paper. And this DQN does so by adjusting the AC temperature setting of each AC unit. And as seen here, we deployed in 2 laboratory classrooms in our university. And in some, we have 3 window-type non-inverter AC units, as seen in the diagram. Okay. To complete our DQN model, we adopted a reward function from Lazaridis et al., balancing energy and thermal comfort. And here we have, as we see, alpha and beta as weights of these parameters. And you can configure it so that you can focus on one hand or on energy consumption or thermal comfort by varying alpha and beta values that add up to 100%. And at the right, the important part here are the state variables that we include in our DQN agent, namely the user set point temperature, the energy consumption, the temperature inside and outside the room, humidity inside the room, and also the number of occupants. These are then fed to the DQN agent, which it uses to calculate the most optimal AC set point temperature, which it sends to the AC unit. As stated on a previous talk by Dr. Long, machine learning agents and reinforcement learning algorithms such as deep queue networks require a lot of data. And collecting real-world data, especially for AC environments, takes a long time. As we know, AC settings take a while to take effect, right? And to resolve this, we implemented Energy Plus software, a building energy modeling engine by the US DOE and NREL. And simply put, we recreated the rooms, the classrooms in this software with their dimensions, properties, and also the AC specifications in these respective rooms. And then these are subjected to historical weather data in the national capital region of our country. And simply what happens is that since we have the environment, we can just simply plug the custom DQN agent, PyTorch-based DQN agent that we created using the Python API of the Energy Plus engine. Next. And as we'll see later on, we'll see how the trained agent could fare against constant temperature settings. Okay, so moving on to the more exciting part, which is the implementation of the agent in the actual rooms. So here we see three phases that we identified. First is, of course, the use of sensors, in this case, DHT sensors to measure temperature and humidity inside and outside the rooms, and clamp sensors connected to the circuit breakers at the electrical room to measure the energy consumption of each AC unit. And then we also implemented individual user interfaces for each room so that the user can manually control the ACs. And also, okay, so those are the kind of data that we collect, and those collected data are transmitted to the RPI via our local area network. And the RPI houses the DQN agent, and then those data, it feeds to the agent, and of course the agent, as stated before, generates the optimal output, and we send that to the AC unit using a control module rigged with an IR blaster, so that we can just non-invasively transfer it to the AC unit. And this runs from 8 to 5 p.m. Office hours so that we can collect data continuously. Okay, so to discuss the results, here we tested a pre-trained agent with a 1090 configuration, and that means that the alpha is 90% and the beta is 10%, meaning the reward of this model, for instance, is that it's weighted 90% towards energy and 10% in comfort. And as we see, there's a 46 to 57%. It consumes 46 to 57% less energy compared to the constant control of only 23 and 24 degrees Celsius throughout the day. However, this has a trade-off in comfort, by an increase of PMV of 0.4 to 0.6. And by the way, PMV is a comfort index that considers multiple factors such as temperature, humidity, air velocity, clothing insulation, metabolic rate, and much of those variables we assumed constant, such as for clothing insulation, just the casual t-shirt and pants, right? And also air velocity, we assume constant since it's an air-conditioned room, a classroom that doesn't really have a lot of wind coming through. And PMV usually ranges from -3 to +3, -3 being cold and +3 being hot, and this is kind of where the occupant feels in the spectrum. Note here, however, that this analysis did not yet account for occupancy presence, because logically as well, if no one is in the room, PMV values are irrelevant. And so we expect that this number can also improve, all of these numbers can also improve once we filter out accurate data for unoccupied periods. Okay, so to quickly conclude, we developed a DQN-based system capable of automatically balancing AC energy efficiency and comfort. And in simulations, the DQN agent actually showed promising results in its balancing task. And when deployed in real models, at least the 1090 configuration, it showed or achieved significant energy reductions against the 23 and 24 control setting. And although, of course, it incurred a rise in PMV. And overall, these validate that the system has a potential for real-world use. And moving forward, we do recommend that there should be longer testing periods. It should be allowed to learn and train from real environment data, and also the use of other reinforcement learning algorithms aside from DQNs to start all those other strategies to actually further improve the performance of this system. And I think that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I open the floor for any questions.
I'm fast.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lorenzo, if there is any question from the audience, please feel free to raise a hand or give a shout directly. Question. So I think I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, thank you.
So with your model, do you use any scenarios to compare the results of the energy savings maybe?
The one we presented was just against 23 degrees and 24 degrees constant temperature. And we chose this primarily because these are what is recommended normally, especially in our university as well. They often recommend 24 degrees or to keep it 24 degrees. And then, yeah, that's it. That's kind of their policy. But that's why we tried to test it against that generally approved policy and see if we can improve in terms of energy consumption or PMV as well. And yeah, that's why we chose that. Although, of course, we can also try other means. And that's something probably we can look for other related literature if there are other policies that is more suitable than just constant 24 degrees.
So thank you. Is there any question from the audience? If not, so thank you very much, Mr. Lorenzo, for the presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
Give a big round of applause for the presenter. And let's move on to the next presenter in Senior TS, Dr. Muhammad Zaid Akub, who will be presenting on comparative photometric analysis of road lighting configurations on single and double lane roads. Dr. Akub, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. All right, never mind. While waiting for the slide, right, so I just want to introduce myself. So my name is Muhammad Zaid Akub, right? Today, I will presenting the projects that funded by, that's it, right? Funded by the, MIROS, which is the Malaysian Institute Road Safety and Research, and also collaborated with the, as you can see here, the ASEAN NCAP, right? Which means that NCAP is a new car assessment program, right? So this project basically funded by them. And before I move further to the slide, so I just want to give an overview why we're doing this project. Right? So basically, doing this project to support the initiative of the NCAP, the new car assessment program. For us, we are basically supporting on the NCAP procedure for 2030 to 2035. Right. So as you know, we have the AEB vehicle. Just let some overview on this project. We know that nowadays we have the vehicles AEB, we call the autonomous emergency braking vehicle, right? So the issue is the testings of the AEB vehicle under and the varying lighting condition is not available in Asians, right? So what we did, we need to create a new policy on that. So due to that, we take an opportunity to do a research on that, and which focusing on the comparative photometric analysis of road lighting configurations on side or single lane and double lane roads, right? So in this project, basically we have three objectives. But in these kinds of conference, I will only share to you the outputs of two objectives because we have limited times on that, right? So the first one, basically, what we did, we will measure the light intensity produced by the street lighting on single and the double lane road, right? So, and after we getting those data, right, we will design, develop, and validate the light intensity produced by the actual road lighting conditions. So why we doing that? So because of that, the third objective, which for your information, which I'm not presenting the details of that objective number 3 today because it's taking time on that. So I will only introducing to you, sharing with all of you on the objective number 1 and number 2. But at least you have to know why we're doing this, because of we need to propose the standard setup for evaluate the AEB, the autonomous emergency brake performance vehicles for ASEAN passenger, right? So with under conditions of road lightings variation. So means what? Means that to test the AEV vehicles under the real condition is very difficult because you need to go to the actual lane roads, right? So and you have to test the vehicle. So what to do? So we have to propose a new setup, and we need to have the proper simulation test rate, right, in order to get the same data as the actual conditions. So then we measure the real conditions of the road conditions lighting, and also develop a new simulation test rate, right, in order to validate the actual data, right? So for the objective number 1, right, based on the assessment protocol, which is the assessment protocol by the 2021 to 2025 Euro and CAP, right? So we perform the method of test, measure the actual light intensity through grid positioning based on the different types of road. So as you can see, this is the 5 different types of road in Malaysia, right? To make it more clear, I will show to you the configuration. This is the one. The number 1 is a single lane road with lamp pole both sides. The number 2 is single lane road with lamp pole on center. And number 3, double lane road with lamp pole both sides on curbside edges. And 4, double lane road with lamp pole on center. And number 5 is single lane road with lamp pole on one side on curbside edges. So what means by this? This is the real conditions of lightings that we have in Malaysia, right? So cut it short, right? So this is the measurement parameters that we use, whereby we refer to the Euro and CAP, right? So this is the parameters. The distance between lamp pole and actual conditions is 34 meter, right? The lane road width is 4 meter for single lane and 8 meter for double lane. This is actual conditions. I mean, this is actual lighting road conditions, right? So height of lamp pole is between 9 to 13 meter. Ambient temperature, we are taking the measurements during night time, right? So 24 to 26, and minimum 3 repetition per test. And measured data basically is solely lux, is light intensity, right? So the measured data is varies from height of the road surface. Means that height from road surface from the ground to the levels that you can see here, 2 meter. Why are we choosing that one? Because of we know that each vehicle types have a different types of height. So we choose this one based on the various type of vehicle height, basically, right? And of course, we choose also the various angles to measure the light intensity between 0, flat, and the 45-degree due to the minimum and maximum angle of windscreens of the vehicle, right? So as you can see here, so this is a grid point and how we measure the light intensity. So the issues in achieving the objective number one is you have to measure the light intensity in the real actual road, which is so difficult, right? So then after a while, we still need to have to get those data, right? So this is some features that we captured during the actual measurement, right? So to cut it short, for the whole data, the whole bunch of data for the all types of the roads, right? If you can see over here, zero angle and angle 45 degrees, and this is light of intensity, lux, and this is length of road from 1 meter to 34 meter, right? And you can see the trend. This is combinations for all of types of road, number 1 to number 5, right? You can see here, this is some trends of U shape, all right? So you can see at 1 meter, yeah, of course, the highest 0.75 lux at 1 meter and also 34 meter due to the closest to the lamp post, right? So once we have those data, so what we did, we need to achieve the objective number 2, because we want to measure, we want to simulate the real conditions with the simulations test rate, or I would say the simulator, right? To simulate is that this device, this simulator test rate could have a same value as what we have the actual condition. Why? Once if we have that, the simulations values is close to the actual, so we don't need the actual conditions anymore. So we can use that simulator test rate to test the AEV vehicle under the different types of lighting conditions, right? So this is the objective number 2, designing and developing the simulator test rate, and also validate the light intensity. As you can see, this is some of the lamp posts, right? So this is during the fabrication time, and we modified those LED solar light with light intensity controller. We can control the light intensity based on the conditions that we want, right? So the power is 1,500 watt, and this is the conditions of the modified LED solar light, right? And as you can see, the light intensity controller can control the light intensity, and we have the remote controller to switch on and off. Why we need this one? Because of once you stand up, the pole is 9 to 13 meter, right? So that will be very difficult for you to bring it down, right? So you can on and off, and you can control the light intensity during at the ground, right? So the same method parameters, I mean the same measures of parameters that we use in the actual lighting road conditions, for the simulations on this particular simulated test rate, right? So this is the one that we did. This some features for the final test on the lighting, and what you can see here. This is the early data of the simulator, right? Between lamp pole 4 meter and lamp pole 8 meter. But I think I will move further. This is the one which is more clear that you can see. This is the actual data on the road light conditions, and this is the data that we using the simulation test rate, right? Yeah, you can see that the length of meter is different, but the trends, the profile is quite similar, right? So, and finally, by having the Euro NCAP light intensity validations using the illuminance over the road area measured in lux, we have E max, E minimum, E reference, right? So we are comparing E reference for both conditions, actual road lane conditions and also the customized road light intensity simulation test rate. And what we have, so the illuminance reference for both are almost similar, right? So with this, we have proposed to the MIROS, the Malaysian Institute Road Safety and Research, and also the our collaborators with ASEAN and CAP, we propose to having this setup and this procedure in the new ASEAN new car assessment program for year 2030 to year 2035. Right, so that's it for today. Quite short and brief to all of you. Open to you for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the insightful presentation. I would like to give the floor to the audience if there is any question. If not, the question will come from myself.
Sure.
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 Again.
Sure,
So,
Chairperson. You are most welcome.
so it is very interesting to see like the design configuration, but I'm still curious about the energy saving and maybe cost savings from the configuration, because I'm sure that it will reduce some installation and something like that. So please elaborate it.
Yeah. Good. Basically, good questions that was also in my mind talking about the energy saving. Since that basically this project is not really looking on the energy saving per se, but in future we can use this model to I would say to give an advice to the authority in the state to consider using the LED lamp pole as compared to the the normal typical lamp post by the using the electricity, the normal electricity. So why? Because once we have this data, so we also can approaching to the state mentioning that we have sufficient light intensity for road. So why don't we change the new types of LED lampposts compared to the typical one, right? So I believe, even though this project is not covered that particular scope, but I believe if we have this data with the light intensity is equivalent to the actual condition, so why not we use the more green so-called lampposts, right? Is that answering you?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
But what about the cost savings?
For cost, what do you mean by the cost saving?
Because I was just wondering, because of the configuration, maybe it can reduce the number of installed lighting.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, the cost saving on the lamppost, of course, if we can reduce the numbers of lampposts, of course we can reduce a cost from that particular points, right? So again, after all, we need to know the actual data, right? So is that possible? Do we have to maintain the actual road conditions numbers of lampposts? If we can reduce that one based on the data that we have, so of course we can reduce the cost by itself, right?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Dr.
thank you,
for your
Chairperson.
presentation.
Right.
Please give a round of applause for Dr. Akop. So the next presentation will be delivered by Dr. David Teh. Yes. The presentation will be about leveraging digital technologies for energy efficient, low carbon, and climate resilient built environments in ASEAN and APAC.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Teh, the floor is yours.
How does it work? Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So my approach will be slightly different. I actually look at digital technology in the built environment. I actually submitted 3 papers for this conference, but I chose to present one, but they are somehow interlinked. I even look at small modular reactors as well. So I would like you guys to actually, I'm sure that, this actually will be playing, but I'm not sure why it's not playing. So you pretty much can tell is that some of this built environment in the ASEAN country, especially, or Asia Pacific, some are aging as well. So on the top left, right, is actually a sinkhole that opened up in Penang. The one in the middle, that pretty much like last few weeks, again, there's a sinkhole in Bangkok. And the other part is actually the typhoon, Ragasa. Again, it hit a lot of different countries, and then it comes to through Taiwan, China, Vietnam, and the Philippines as well. So my question is actually is to ask is that have you actually imagined in terms of how sustainable and resilient is our built environment? So you know, especially when it comes like even like in the KL city, right? Today, tall building, high rise, and they're still being developed for like in the last 5 years. Built environment or building is being constructed from time to time, and it's getting crowded, more crowded. But have we actually stopped and asked the question: is that are these buildings actually built to actually withstand the accelerating climate change effect? If there is potentially hit by earthquake or like typhoon, is the building still being stand? And you know, on top of like previously, all the presenters talk about how can we actually to sort of embark on this net zero decarbonization. So this is why my presentation, I slightly take a slightly different approach to look at what are some of the digital technology can be utilized in the built environment space. Okay, so that's just pretty much a bit of ideas I'm going to cover throughout my presentations. So this is what I try to get you guys to imagine. This is what we will normally see in ASEAN cities or the wider Asia Pacific. The question is that, are these built to withstand climate change? Okay, and don't forget, this pretty much like create another problems as well. The urban island heat effects. When they have a lot of buildings, the lack of circulations, I think that's another part of engineering can look at as well, right? Yes, so just to build further on what why I look at built environment. So built environment actually accounted about 40% of global GHG. And coincidentally, they also contribute to 40% of global waste in construction and demolitions. So if we actually can solve one of these problems in the built environment, it's a one stone, two birds. It solves the net zero, as well as it also solves the waste management problems as well. So I'm not talking about built environment is not a good thing, but I want to sort of change the narrative and look at potentially built environment hold the key that how we can actually transform through digital innovations. So just to build on this is that, as you can see, the central challenges here is that we have a rapid digitalizations, you know, especially in ASEAN. You know, we have talked about digital economy, we have this ASEAN economic framework, right? So again, similarly, in Malaysia's, some part of other ASEAN country, we are keep building up AI data centers. And you know, AI data center is both very power and water thirsty machine and infrastructure. And especially in the region in ASEAN, I'm not saying that we have a water crisis or energy crisis, but we have water resources scarcities. So the question is really about how are we going to actually have this economic growth at the same time we are not compromising the environment. Okay, so there is actually a rapid digitalization for digital economy and so on. The next question is that there's accelerated urbanizations as well, which means that a lot of people actually move to the urban. Again, so it goes back to the very key themes of my of these papers as well. Is the urban future has been built sustainable, resilient, and equitable. Now, to couple that, to make it even more challenging is that because of this accelerating climate risk and nature risk as well, it exposes a different type of vulnerabilities of our built environment, which means that there is a greater resilience to be considered when we constructing a new building, construction, and when I say built environment, it's actually not just building, you know, it's actually any type, bridges, for example. So this is why it brings all this together is that the intersection of these three mega trends, okay? The question is that, are we building a sustainable urban environment, okay? Not only technological advance, but it is also sustainable, resilient, and equitable. So I think this is something that that's objective. If we look at the research paper, that's what we want to achieve. So to do that, we actually will be interested to look at how some, I'll actually share with you a bit. It's exploratory research. We want to investigate how company in the environment sectors or even other company or even agency, governments, councils, okay, state and state government or local governments, how they actually will be tapping to digital technologies to actually consider they're building something. So there's a few type of technology I'll be looking at. I'll show you a bit more later. But to link back to these teams of this track of our conference here is really about energy efficiency, resources utilization, and also to build a climate resilient built environment. So the methodology is, as I said, it's exploratory, qualitative. So I'll be doing a more in-depth case study as well, but also involve expert focus group or interview with a senior management as well as people who are actually on the ground, who are actually using this technology as part of their work. So I mean, the end goal is to really to build something that is actually scalable. Again, when we have this piece of research, it's not in Malaysia context, it's actually ASEAN and also the wider Asia Pacific. So I'm not going to talk into like different part. I'm not going to talk into sustainable finance and all that, but I want to be able to actually come up with a framework that's easily be replicated and utilized in any country as part of ASEAN or also Asia Pacific for easy access to finance. When we have a methodology, then it's actually easy to access to finance. You know, we talk about sustainable finance or blended finance, right? So yes, so the expected outcome is to really come up something that's practical, scalable, and cost-effective framework, which again, I'll also share with you guys briefly later. Now, I just want briefly to talk about what does it mean about digital technology, unlike what has been covered previously when you talk about solar. For me, that's actually clean technology. But my technology is something that is really exists, okay? So I just pretty much talk about enterprise information systems. And many of the companies actually have some sort of enterprise information system can help them to actually track, you know, in terms of the resources that actually being used, energy efficiency and so on. But specifically, we can also look at green information system. This is, again, it's not concept that's like totally new. It's been around for the last 20 years, okay, and so on. This enterprise system or digital tools, right, as you can see the name as suggested, it was actually designed specifically to deal with company sustainability goal, cutting energy costs, energy efficiency, resource optimization, and so on. Now, the last three, right, which I'll be talking about, is actually can be something very specific to industry like built environment, for example. Internet of Things building management system is something that will be very useful, built on previously some other colleague were talking about air conditioning. So air conditioning is actually one part of the biggest operating cost for running a buildings as well. Okay, so something like that, it will be increasing the responsiveness. You also sort of can readjust it based on the occupancy rate and so on. Now, digital twins is something that I'm not sure how many of you actually know about digital twin or how it actually has been used, but in ASEAN, some company actually have used digital twin to manage the building. So digital twin is just a concept, it's a real-time virtual replica. Very simple, I give you one example. If you watch Iron Man, and you know, Iron Man, when I talk to Jarvis, right, you actually do a simulation, that's an example of digital twins. But of course, that is to help company to digitally manage their asset, increase responsiveness, and also help them to track in terms of resources efficiency, resources optimization, and so on. Now, I know that the world, we can't really not talk about AI itself, but why I'm going to talk about AI is that with all the data that's actually been collected, it will be go wasted if it's not really being used, right? So I think this is where the data comes in, where you can train the model itself to actually optimize the performance or further enhance the energy efficiency and resource optimizations. Okay, so that's pretty much some of the digital technology I'll be looking at. So just some case study. Microsoft is a campus in Beijing. Pretty much is a technology company. They actually partner with Johnson Control, and they have been utilizing some of this advanced digital technology to help them to actually manage the buildings itself. That's actually a case study in Beijing campus. But since then, they actually replicate into other Microsoft offices as well. And Microsoft is not just a software company, it's a digital technology company, right? And it is a solution they also offering to their clients, okay? So as you can see that those technology actually it's not something that's totally built out of nowhere, but it's actually further built on Microsoft Azure platform, and they have this AI enhanced facility management, which is provided by OpenBlue and MetaSys. The key outcome is like 98% uptime for all the key critical infrastructure, about 30%, about 28% energy consumption, which then result to delivering saving and environmental benefit. Okay, what is actually right is good also you achieve is that the sustainability is not just about environmental, but also the social. The employees, healthier environment, air quality, workspace experience, and so on. Google is another example. Again, another technology company, they have their own deep AIs as well. Now, the thing is that they don't just sell the technology, but they also use it as part of running their own data center operations. So that's why actually one Google data center in Elmina in Malaysia that's actually being built. So I think I can see that similar technology will be actually used that for real-time cooling control. They use digital twin system modems as well. Those are at the company level. Just want to quickly show you this. This is actually a city in Penang. So that city is actually it's a Batam Smart Energy City, but of course it's focusing on energy point of view only. But if you think that there's a full potential, is that you can expand it to look at other part of the city, not just look at energy, but overall in terms of sustainability. As I said, I just want to briefly touch on that when this is the framework and the roadmap where I hope, still subject to revising after like collecting data and so on, but I'll be looking at the main 5 levels: strategic value creations, monitoring optimization, core digital transformation, strategic planning, policy, action, and alignment. Okay, so as you can see that I bring all these type bits back together, what I've discussed, but from my experience is that what is really a key point is that the focus of this part here is very important to actually talk about the real business case when you want access to financing. Okay. I think that's pretty much. I'll just wrap up. Thanks. Questions?
Thank you very much. So if there is any question from the audience in the room, please raise a hand. Yes, please. Could you please mention your name and your institution, maybe?
My name is Yasufumi Ogawa from Greenity Energy, consulting company for energy sector and biomass. We are interested in technology. What kind of areas, like business sectors, DX is implemented already, or other Asian countries? This case, the case study was like a data center for the smart building.
Yep.
How about the manufacturing sector or agriculture sector, the major sectors in Asian country? Have you studied?
Yes. Okay. I can actually touch on that, Mr. Chair. I know that because of the topic, I look at built environment per se. So the similar digital technology, right, it actually can be used in agriculture technology or agriculture company or production companies as well. For example, one of the projects that my colleagues, which is also part of the team members, they actually use Internet of Things to actually help the farmers in northern Thailand to collect data in terms of the soil health and the precipitation rate, and also the soil health. And this is something a bit more advanced in some farm. Internet of Things is for like data collections, but somehow they actually build a model. It's a proprietary technology. They actually communicate with drones, and when the drones actually go out, when the certain the water level drop to a certain level, the drone actually go out to do the watering. So that actually involve less human. The reason is that we have this project was actually through the digital. It's not ministry in Thailand, but it's a digital agency in Thailand, because of aging populations and also high cost to actually run a farm. So the agency actually promote the use of technology to help to continue to do the farming. This is why they're sort of experimenting how technology can be used in that extent. Productions, yes, to some extent as well. Digital twin is actually one example in production or manufacturing businesses. Same thing, the digital twins, it look at the health of the production or the machinery. So the idea of this digital twin is that it can help you to extend the life of your machine, because it actually provide you a predictive maintenance, which means that before your machine actually break down, it actually sort of give you a signal, like you might have to do a servicing and so on. So in a way, the technology I mentioned to you is not just for built environment, it has been used and have been implemented in other industry. I did not cover that because the paper was actually on built environment, so I was focused on built environments as well. But more than happy to discuss or sort of to see how we can collaborate. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Question for me?
Yes. So digitalization is one of studies in the ASEAN energy sector, in the ASEAN Center for Energy. And then, however, we are still wondering whether, because ASEAN consists of 10 member states and they have a very big disparities between countries. Some countries have lower GDP and some other higher GDP and something like that. So which one should we prioritize first? It's like my common question to many people dealing with digitalization in the energy sector. So which one is the priority? Should we digitalize the energy sector right away, or should we revitalize the energy infrastructure first, dealing with energy security and affordability and also the sustainability?
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Now, I actually have the same questions as well, but sometimes it's not really a question about should we do energy grid first and then other sector later. Now, it actually go back to assessing the country economic profile. Some country, you'll be potentially things that Laos, for example, you actually generate more green energy compared to other ASEAN country. Yes. So I think this is why it's not fair to say that should they actually do green or energy decarbonization first, then only to look at other sectors. My always question is that no businesses and no organization or no government is going to look at energy transformation or energy or decarbonization itself. Try to link this back to what is your economic driver. I think this is actually in a business case, as in like, what do you actually need for this economic growth for your countries itself? Which means that you, no matter what, you want to make sure that you actually sustain and that thing, all right, has to be up and running all the time. Because without a business, the country is not going to do well. But without a like net zero decarbonization, the climate and all that is also affecting the business, okay, or the country overall. So I think it really goes back to like what is the economic profile of a country itself, like what sort of their businesses or economic driver or economic activity, and try to build around that, to actually help them to build resiliency and sustainability around that. Now, the thing is that, as I said, I give one example of this Laos, right? ASEAN Power Grid, it is something that we've been talking about that for a very long time, right? Is it coming online? To some extent, some people actually believe yes, but you'll be surprised, this is something I learned as well, is that Laos actually has been exporting through ASEAN Power Grid to sell green energy, pass through Thailand, pass through Malaysia, and sell to Singapore. So that is a country that provides surplus green energy itself. Now, again, it goes back to equitable. So you have a country generate green energy itself, right? So as ASEAN, you have a 10 or 11 member state, right? How to actually pool the resources and then redistribute this back to a country where they need more resources to build other part of the economics driver. On one hand, I say that if I'm a say Laos, right, I will generate green energy. I sell to other country. I need to somehow get back of some return investment where I can reinvest in the grid, the power generator, and also that different part of my economy. So only then the business, the people in the country will see there's a value. Being sustainable is not costly, but it's actually a real business sense. Like all the company or all the clients actually meet, right? Oh, being sustainable is expensive. But my question is that not being sustainable is even more costly. I'm an accountant, so I talk dollars, right? But in a realistic sense. Thanks. It's a good question, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Teh. So let's move on to the next presentation about investigation of electric field analysis for 10 kilovolt suspension porcelain insulator with various material permittivity, delivered by Mr. Yuli Howard. The floor is yours, Mr.
Good afternoon to all the researcher and AICCE team and everyone here. My name is Lee Hua Yu. I am from Institute of Technology of Cambodia. I'm thrilled to present about my research entitled of Investigation of the Electric Field Analysis for 10 kilovolt suspension porcelain insulator with various material property. I divided my presentation into 5 parts. First of all, I will introduce to you about what is the insulator and its property. Secondly, the main objective of my research that will focus on. Thirdly, the methodology of the research will be detailed. And after that, the result will be illustrated in a figure or a table. And last but not least, I will sum up about my today's presentation. So as you know, in medium and high voltage system, the insulator plays a critical role to mechanically support the live cable and isolate the cable from the pole to avoid the electrical shock to the people below. And as you know that the insulator property can be porcelain, glass, or polymer. So the insulator normally divided into 3 parts. First of all is a pin that will be act to support the voltage cable, and the cap will be connected to the pole. And the cell will be present the surface of insulator to isolate the electrical property, electrical leakage. So the main objective of my research is to study and understand the relation between the electrical field and its permittivity, and to also investigate and analyze how change the permittivity in porcelain and cement could affect the electrical field of the insulator. So now we move on to the methodology part. So it's not. So first of all, I have chopped the insulator into 2 pieces, and then I draw it into the AutoCAD. Why we draw it in AutoCAD and not ANSYS? Because AutoCAD it can model a complex system rather than ANSYS. And later on, we will set the material property of each part of the porcelain insulator, and we will set the boundary condition between each part. As a real insulator system, the pin will be applied with a high voltage around 10 kilovolt, and the cap will be ground at 0 volt. And after that, we will change the permittivity of the cement and the porcelain in order to see the difference between electrical field and voltage distribution. In order to validate our result, we calculate the Pearson momentum, product momentum correlation between each parabol that we conducted, like electrical field, voltage distribution, permittivity of cement and porcelain. And then we will plot the trend line of the linear relation. So this is a technical data that I have chopped the insulator. So the leakage, the electrical field and the voltage distribution will be measured on the leakage distance here on the red line. Because this part will handle high electrical field rather than other part. So now we will focus on the property of the porcelain insulator. So the cap and the pin are mostly iron, while the shell of the insulator will be a porcelain. And to connect the shell and the cap, we normally use the cement. And the pin and the cap and the pin and the shell also connected by the cement hill also. So my research mainly focused on the permittivity of the porcelain cement, and this value I take it from the research paper. And for air and iron, I use the default from the ANSYS. So Pearson product momentum correlation, it shows the direction of the relation, how close a variable can be related. So if RP is positive, it means that if one variable increase, the other also increase as well. If the LP is negative, it means that if one variable increase, other variable will be decreased respectively. And for my research, I choose the correlation between 0.7 and 1. So from electrical field analysis, we noticed that at the beginning, the electrical field for the porcelain with the permittivity of 4.2 is the lowest, but at near the cap, it shows the highest density. And if we compare the permittivity of cement 15, 5, and 2.09, we notice that the lower the cement permittivity, the lower electrical field at the cap. Meanwhile, for the cement permittivity 15, we notice that the voltage near the cap is the highest, but the voltage near the pin is the highest, and the voltage at the cap is the lowest. So to calculate the Pearson product momentum correlation, I choose the electrical field and the voltage at the end or near the cap to calculate its linear relation. So after calculate the linear relation, we can see that the permittivity of the cement is more related to the electrical field and voltage distribution of the insulator. So as you can see that it's positive, 0.9 close to 1. It means that if the permittivity of the cement increase, the electrical field at near the cap also increase. And if it's so negative, it means that the permittivity of the cement increase, the voltage distribution of the insulator decrease. So this shows the linear trend line between the permittivity of cement voltage, the permittivity of cement, and electrical field. So to sum up my presentation, my research is focused on the electrical characteristic and permittivity of the porcelain and cement of the substantial insulator. And to find their linear relation, the analysis is performed by calculating the Pearson product momentum correlation coefficient between each parameter. And the coefficient value is ranked between 0.7 to 1 that show the strong linear relation. And what I finding is that the permittivity of the cement increase, so as the electrical field on the leakage distance also increase, and the permittivity of the cement increase, the voltage distribution on the leakage descent degrees. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presenter. I would like to give the floor to the audience. If you have any question, please feel free to raise a hand. No question. So if there's no question, we can end the session, and then please, you may go back to your seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Give a round of applause to the presenter again. So I think thank you very much to all presenters for sharing their insightful research and experiences, and all participants for your active attention and engagement throughout the session. Our discussion today has highlighted the importance of energy efficiency technologies and measures in advancing ASEAN sustainable energy transition. The ideas and perspectives shared today provide valuable input for enhancing regional cooperation and accelerating practical actions toward a more efficient and low-carbon future. I hope these exchanges will continue to inspire collaboration and innovation among all stakeholders working toward ASEAN's clean energy goals. With that, we officially conclude this session of the 5th ASEAN International Conference on Energy and Environment, or AICEE. And then, thank you very much. I'm Afam as the chair. See you next time.